this? Why can't I don't even know. I don't know what to say anymore. Now, okay, we're my name. I know my name. My name is Ashanti Branch. Why am I having such a hard time? This is hilarious. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because it's so hot here and so cold there that we're feeling different temperatures here.
that
All right, we're gonna try it now.
that's to break the ice. To break the ice.
That's probably break the ice. Here we go. All right. See, there you go.
Absolutely.
If I'm gonna mess up and I'm the host, you're gonna do perfect because you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm really glad you joined us. Today's guest is Luis Heredia. I said it wrong again already in the intro. Luis Gustavo Heredia Vasquez. Oh man, he and I had a really fun time trying to me get that right, and so I could say it all together really cleanly. So Luis Gustavo Heredia Vasquez. We call him Gustavo in the conversation. Luis and I met when he was a participant during his gap year in a program called LALA, the Latin American Leadership Academy. I met the Latin American Leadership Academy through a man who I supported in Brazil to run the Taking Off the Mask activity with a group of young people. If you remember episode number 1 of the Taking Off the Mask podcast, that was Breno. Breno is from Brazil. Breno's mentor, getting exciting for you. Breno's mentor is the man who now works for LALA. And so this is a full circle experience that after 50 plus episodes, people are recommending others and are connecting us to other people around the world. Uh, Gustavo is from Peru. I've had the opportunity to go to Peru before. I have not yet interviewed anyone from Peru. So Gustavo is our first guest from the country of Peru. So excited to be in conversation with him. As I continue to improve my Spanish, we did this interview fully in English, but I wanted to do it in Spanish so bad. There were so many times I wanted to just burst out some Spanish in this conversation. But I'm excited to connect with him in a deeper way. And I think what you're going to see in these conversations is the opportunity for people all over the world to recognize that we're not alone. Definitely for men in these conversations that we're talking about masks, that we have very similar masks, even though we come from so many different places. When you hear Luis's mask on the front and my mask on the front, we both talk about fear. I mean, he talks about a fear of failure, which is usually what my front of the mask, the back of the mask says. And this time I just wrote fear. And I was glad to be able to share with him that I also have a fear of failure, that big goals and big dreams that I have, sometimes I wonder about them and I worry about them. And I think that this conversation was really beautiful for me in the sense that as we continue to meet people around the world who are willing to participate in this million mask movement, who are willing to take off their masks, I think we can find a way to be able to listen to each other better, understand each other a little bit more, and recognize that there's so much more to any of us than anyone can see from the outside. I was going to tell you a story about collecting masks in Colombia, but I think that I'm going to tell that story really soon. I think that one of the things that we have seen when I have gone to different places to make masks is that in the beginning, um, maybe before you even thought about what we're going to do, some people are wondering what is happening behind each other's masks. We're wondering if people are more real than what we can see on the outside. And sometimes we miss that deep connection because we get stuck about what our eyes can see. When I had the opportunity to go to um, Bogota, Colombia for their wedding, my friend's sister-in-law, she was in high school and she said, can you come to my school and present? I'm like, yeah, I would love to. One of the things I learned when I went to Bogota, Colombia for that wedding, and I had the opportunity to present at a school there, I always kind of carry materials with me anywhere I go. But these students, I got the opportunity to present in Spanish. And in that workshop, we realized that no matter where I am around the world, whether I'm in with people from Peru, from Brazil, Mexico, Latin America, Australia, India, Nepal. And as you continue to meet more guests that are going to be coming from different parts of the world, I think you're going to be aware that it's similar things that we go through, but we oftentimes don't talk about. We see what the news says about people over there, and we think that they may have it all figured out. And sometimes we realize that maybe they're just like us, humans trying to have a good life, trying to do amazing things in the world, trying to support their families, and sometimes not knowing how. Sometimes having the fear of failure that sometimes paralyzes us. So thank you for being a part of the Taking Off the Mask podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know anyone who can benefit from this conversation today, wherever in the world they may be, if you know somebody in another part of the world who you think we should talk to, now I only speak English and Spanish, so it can't be outside of those two languages, but at least for now, maybe we can find a way to invite them to be a part of this conversation. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm so glad you joined us. Today's guest is Gustavo Heredia. No, Heredia. See, I did it already messed up. Let's do it again. Okay. Reset. Heredia. See? Got it. I practiced like 18 times. I don't know how I still got it
Yeah,
wrong.
that actually happens.
Heredia. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm smiling too much. Hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go. I can't even say. I can't start. Oh my god! I practiced so many times, and now I'm like, well, how do I say Heredia?
Ahí
I
está.
got it.
That's the one.
Tal vez
Heredia.
voy a decir todo en español, tal vez me voy a sentir mejor. Ya, quién sabe. Okay.
Sale mejor en español.
Ah, qué bien, Heredia. Gustavo Heredia. Mire, bienvenidos a todos. Soy Ashanti Branch. The people be like, what are you talking about? What's happening? All right, I got it now. I'm ready. Okay, here we go. Take three. Yeah. Welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm really glad you joined us. Today's guest is Gustavo Heredia. Listen, I practiced his name several times. I love Spanish. I speak Spanish, and I was having a hard time. And I get Gustavo, I'm sorry about messing your name up in the beginning. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely, Ashanti. After so many tries, you have finally said my name correctly. So here I am. I'm Luis Heredia, or you can call me Gustavo Heredia, and I'm from Peru. I'm 18 years old. Basically, right now, I'm a kind of gap year student. And this year, I will be applying to university.
Awesome. Now, are you right now in Peru right now as we speak?
Yeah, I'm in Peru, and it's
Excellent.
kind of cold over here.
Tell me about it. What is Peru like right now? What is the temperature like? What is it? Tell me how cold is it?
I wouldn't be able to say exactly because it's like different kind of temperatures in Peru. But
Ah.
at least in my kind of city, which is Chiclayo, it's cold. But it changes. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm. At least by the night, it's cold.
And what time is it right now?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And you said Chitlayo?
Yeah, that's the name, Chiclayo. It's
Chitlayo.
my city.
Well, I haven't been there. I hope to go there one day. I actually was in Cusco and Lima in I forgot what year, 2000, maybe 12 or 13. I don't know. But I had a great time. And I got to go to Machu Picchu, and just a marvelous experience. So, how close are you or far from you are you from Lima or Cusco?
I don't know, I would say like 10 hours. Well,
Oh.
basically, I didn't go to neither to Machu Picchu nor Lima. So I don't know those places, but I would like to.
Awesome. Well, look, I look forward to going to where you are one of these days. I like to see other places besides the most touristy places, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, Luis Gustavo, we had the opportunity to meet when you were participating in a leadership conference called LALA, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can
LALA
you
stands for Latin American Leadership Academy.
Latin American Leadership Academy. And how did they find you? How did LALA find you, or how did you find LALA?
Yeah, well, basically, what's a kind of experience that I have during high school. One of my friends participating in that program, and well, basically, she said, "Yeah, Lala is kind of a family. You're going to find people who want to change the world over there, and they are like, yeah, they are so lovely that they want to make many things, and also they are so supportive." And I said, "Wow, I want to have that experience as well." So I applied to that leadership bootcamp, which lasts like for 7 days. Well, basically, I applied, I wrote some essays, I made a video, and then I got in. And it was like the starting point of a kind of self discovery and self awareness. And that's one of the most beautiful experiences that I have. And actually, that was the time when I met you.
Yeah. Now, I like the way you talked about that self awareness, self discovery, and what happens after those 7 days, after the boot camp.
Yeah. Well, Lala says that the kind of boot camps that we have are just the beginning. And actually, that's true, right? Because after that boot camp, I started to get involved more about with the community. I started to join some big clubs. At least for me, I joined a big club regarding college application, and I'm with that. And also, one thing that Lala is working on is in kind of internships. So I have started a kind of internship with Enseña Perú, and I'm making a kind of leadership program designed for adolescents. So it's kind of amazing for me, and also kind of challenge that I having right now. And that's why I'm kind of busy these days because it's like deciding all the kind of sessions and many things that I have to do.
That's really exciting, man. So you went through this boot camp, you then get the support, and now you're creating another program in Peru for young people,
Yeah,
adolescents.
yeah, yeah. For one
Okay.
organization called Enseña Perú.
Enseña Perú. Awesome, man. Well, I'm super excited. Thank you for being willing to be on this conversation. You know, you're our first guest from Peru, so I'm super excited about that. And I think that what we want to be able to help young people all over, young people and adults all over the world in these conversations is as we talk about these masks, as we recognize that boys and men all over the world are recognizing that we get forced to wear certain masks. Some we choose for ourselves, but some we're told to wear. And how do we find a way to like talk about those masks? You know, how do we find the people in our circle, in our community, in our friend group where we don't have to wear them, where we can be ourselves and everything is good and they support us. They don't try and change us or fix us, but they just ask us what do we need, what do we want, how can they support. That's what we're trying to do in this work. So I'm excited that you are thinking about other youth your age or younger who you can support and create something for them, you know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before getting to another, well, into the kind of mass, I would like to thank you for being in Lala because that was one of the experience that I have. Like, yeah, I started to think more about myself and all the mass that I used to have, and also like making, well, it made me more aware of what I have to do and also the things that I have been carry on so far. So it was like a time for self awareness and self discovery.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad I got to be a part of that experience with you all as well. Um, I am I'm glad that we get to have this conversation today and hopefully that as you continue moving forward with Enseña Peru, that maybe there are ways that, you know, you can use this work in the work you're doing with adolescents there. I think the masks are relative to all communities and places we've found, right? That the people on that call were from all over Latin America, but they could identify with similarities, even though maybe on the outside we look different, you know?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, listen, I just wanted to like give people a background, a little quick note story about you. But now we get to make the mask because most of this conversation is really about the masks. It's not a really interview, but I think that the work you're doing is so awesome, and the work that Lala is doing is so amazing that I wanted to make sure we talked about that first. So, thank you for answering a few of those questions.
Sure.
Now, as our guest, we get to decide. You get to decide if you go first or if I go first. And so, as the guest, who would you like to go first? And we'll start with the front, and we'll both share the front, and then we'll go to the back, and we'll go from there.
I can go first.
You want
That's
to go first?
completely fine
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, well, basically, I don't know whether you see my mask. It's kind of blurry here. But anyway,
Yeah.
this is my mask. And the front, like the three qualities that I actually show people, it says like being hardworking. That's the first one. And actually, I think that's the most common one between people because, like, I know sometimes being hardworking can make you like be seen like you are doing many things, right?
Yeah.
But I do this. I kind of hard working since I have been in high school, working for all the kind of things that I have to do in terms of my grades, in terms of
Yeah.
my kind of assignments, and all those kind of things. And that's positive sometimes, right? I
Right.
mean, if like it is in the front, it's like yeah, just people see like the results, the outcomes of being hardworking. Sometimes they don't see what's behind, and that's like what like like the bad like the failure sometimes, like the bad things, like sometimes of anxiety. Yeah, that's one thing about being hardworking. And well, right now I'm being hardworking as well. Like the last 2 years since I took my gap years, so it has been like a busy time for me being hardworking. That was the first one. The second one is being funny. Yeah, being funny is like wherever I
Mm.
go, I actually like to make some kind of jokes. Like I don't, I don't really like to be serious because I think like working in a serious way. Like I mean, I can be serious sometimes while working when I have like when I have some tasks defined or set up, but also there has to be time to smile, to make jokes, to live the moment. So that's
Mm.
one thing that I love. And well, the third thing is about being caring. I actually like to care about people, and that's why I started my social project related to education. Like it was time for me to give back, because at school I started to learn at least a little about English, and
Mm.
to be real in Latin America, it's kind of difficult to have many opportunities if you don't know another language. Like for
Yeah.
example, if you want to apply to some kind of scholarships,
Yeah.
programs, or any one of the things, you have to know at least English. So I started to teach. I mean, my English is not perfect, right? But at least I try to teach. Well, and actually, my project started of that way, and then I started to call volunteers. You know, adding more subjects like mathematics, biology, dance, like academic,
Yeah.
but also artistic parts. And finally, like this year, I started to make a kind of leadership program as well of one like yeah 1 to 2 months, and I made a kind of dynamic about the masks as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, the ones that is on your
Okay.
website,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really useful by the way.
Awesome, awesome. So you made masks with the people in that activity that you did?
Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome.
it was in second day.
How did it go?
Yeah, it was amazing. Although I didn't have like the opportunity to see all all of them, all of
Yeah.
what they wrote because it was kind of personal. But some of
Yeah.
them were brave enough to show me what they
Nice.
have written. It
Did they
was
do it?
amazing.
They did it
And
on
I
pieces of paper like this, or they did it on the computer?
no in the computer.
And the computer. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but then they are able to download a kind of image, so
Yeah.
they share by WhatsApp them. It
Oh, that's
was
so exciting. Well, I can show you. I mean, after this is all over, I'll show you how you can see them.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was like the three things that I let people see about me. Yes, summing up like being hardworking, funny, and caring. So do they
Okay.
have to go to the back?
Well, no, I'll go front first, and
Yeah,
then you can go to the back. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I was actually pretty okay. Just here we go. All right. So I'm gonna show you mine. That's the mask. That's the
yeah.
front. And here are the words: funny, serious, and hardworking.
Oh, it's kind of similar, right?
Yeah, very 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. I was like, well, what are you reading? I was trying to figure out how you got those. That was so yeah. So funny and hardworking. I'll say the same, and I'll speak about the serious one. And I think sometimes in this work, like when I'm trying to, caring is one that I actually started using a lot lately. I realized I like to show people that I'm caring too, and I think sometimes I would dance between what do I show more that I'm caring or more that I'm serious, and I try to be it's a dance between serious and caring, right? Like sometimes when you're so serious, people may not think you're caring, right? Because you're you're trying to get things done. I kind of like have like a lot of in my mind, a lot of goals and dreams, and there's so much to do in the day. And sometimes um, people say, "Don't take yourself so serious," and I don't want to take myself so serious, but I take the work very seriously, right? I take
The
this
work.
mentoring work, yeah, and it's kind of like, well, I don't think that I'm the smartest or the best or anything like that, but I do work hard to try and make sure that I accomplish what I commit to accomplishing, or that I keep my word when I say I'm going to complete something. And so, yeah, so funny, hardworking, and serious are the ones um, that seem to make that fit the most for me. And yeah, I mean, how amazing that we both had funny and hardworking on the front. That's pretty awesome.
Hard work pays off.
Yeah, I mean it does, and I mean we were earlier we were talking about like naps, right? And I was like, I want to have a chance to take sometimes, right? I'm like, what would it be like just to in the middle of the day, just to lean back in my chair and just, and sometimes I'm like, I just want to do it. I'm just like I'm gonna go and take a nap, but and then sometimes I'm like, well, you can't do that. I mean, like here it's still daytime, right? But here's like, okay, you got stuff to do, you got meetings, you got here, you got to go there. Um, but yeah, I really I think hard working does pay off, and I think sometimes even rest pays off, right? I think sometimes I don't rest enough is part of the problem. Like
Yeah,
I probably need I
actually, we can find solutions as well when we are like taking naps, resting.
yeah, how amazing that can happen, right? Yeah. And as a leader, as a young leader, as a person leading in your community, imagine if we could begin to help people see that rest is important, right? That rest is valuable, that not just working hard all the time and never resting. That's not the way to like you gotta have a balance, the balance between the hard work and the rest.
A balanced life.
Yeah, that's it. There it is. All right. Well, thank you for the front. Now, are you ready to move to the back?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Yeah. So I will start. First of all, over here is Ashanti. I guess I'm pronouncing this word correctly. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I don't
unassure.
rem-
Oh, let me
no.
see it. Let me see
I'm
it.
not sure if I'm pronouncing this word correctly because I don't remember this word. But
Oh,
it's
okay.
like Ashanti and
Oh, oh. Is it? Let me. Can I see it? Can I see it?
yeah. Where is it?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess
Well, no,
you're
you're good.
not
You're
able
good. Let
to
me see.
take.
Oh yeah. Anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety. That word,
Yeah.
I forgot it.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that happens, and above all, like this year, because, like, for example, last year I was so pressured to be in university, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. So I started to look for opportunities. I started to realize that, well, there was another possibility not to study just in my country, but to study abroad.
Mm,
And that's when my adventure also starts, like applying abroad. But I didn't know so much about kind of the process. I applied just to one university and I was rejected. And that kind of reaction actually, it's kind of hard, you know. And also there is a, I I have troubles pronouncing that word, but you know what I'm talking about.
With,
Anxiety,
with
yeah,
anxiety.
anxiety,
Yeah. There you go.
yeah. Because this year I will apply again, but I don't know what the result is going to be. So it's kind of, I don't know, it drives me crazy. Yeah.
Mm,
And that's one of the peculiar things that are happening right now. And also, like, not being sure about how the future is going to look like. And I'm trying also to figure out what I want to study. Right. Like I mean I love education, right? It's one of the
yeah.
things that I doing so far, and also I like policies, but also would like to get involved with kind of business. So I'm trying to make kind of connection and finally find out a kind of solution, no? Yeah, but reality is that one day I would like to be a social entrepreneur.
Mm, nice. Nice.
Yeah, well, that's the one about anxiety.
Awesome.
uh, so, and what else? Oh, the second thing is being lazy. Sometimes I'm lazy. Although I'm hardworking, as
Yeah.
I told you, sometimes I procrastinate.
Yeah.
And as I procrastinate, I tend to be lazy and I just start to watch so many movies on Netflix. And well, I forget all the things that I have to do. And then when the time comes, I realize that I have lost much of my time, and I start to worry about myself at those times. So that happens. But I don't know. But finally, I deal with all those things, and everything is fine. I'm kind
Mm.
of lazy but responsible. I don't know how it works.
You work good under pressure.
Yeah, that happens. If I have like deadlines, or if my boss or a teacher tells me that I have to do certain kind of things with a
Yeah.
deadline, I'm going to do it, and that's going to be perfect. Although I'm lazy.
Well, I mean, I wonder. I wonder if you think it's lazy, but if it's more of just you procrastinate. I mean, if you, I guess, what is the definition of lazy? I'm not sure, but let me let you finish. I'll let you finish. I don't want to jump in.
Yeah, well, now that you're talking, I would change that word. Let's forget the word lazy and procrastinate. That's more accurate, I would say. Procrastinate.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the one. It's correct.
Awesome.
Um, and the last one is failure. Although many people say that failure is part of the process, like
Yeah.
you are going to learn from that, that is, yes, step forward. Yeah, sometimes it hurts. I have
Mm,
like this kind of fear to fail and above all to be rejected in university, because if I fail again, it's going to be like, no, I have wasted my time. Well, basically, I will have to stay in my country. Well,
mm,
many things. In general terms,
yeah.
I have fear for failure.
Mm,
Yeah, and
yeah.
actually, although I have been lucky enough in the last 2 years to participate in different programs, and I was accepted. But anyway, I have fear to fail. Failure is part of my life. Like, yeah, it's part of anyone's life,
Yeah.
but we can see those things with different perspectives. For some people, it's more normal than for others. But finally, I accept those things and I start to think about what I have to improve. So that's like that.
Yeah. That, first of all, thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing that. And I think um I have I'm going to share mine, and I just want to first appreciate you for those words. I think as we think about like all the ways that you get to like express like here's the things that I don't talk about much. I want you to know that fear of failure is like my number one. And I'm going to show you the back. It just says fear, worry, and sadness.
Sadness.
Yeah. And I normally I write fear of failure or fear of I got several fears. Failure being one of them. Fear of not being good enough is another one. Fear of like fear, just like I put worry because it's like, is it gonna work out? I think sometimes I try not to let the fear like stop me, but I'm often aware of like, okay, man, this is gonna get hard. This is gonna be. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm worried. I think in fear sometimes things turn over into becoming fear, like all of it. But I think all of it is not. I think there's some worry in there. There's fear of like the sadness comes from like fear of maybe fear of being alone. Like uh, today on my way to work, I came in early for a meeting, and there was a man outside, and he has what's called Parkinson's, and I don't know what that. I don't know all the details about that ailment. I don't know what to call it. It's some kind of ailment that people get, and he has a hard time with motor skills. He had a hard time walking, and what I remembered was him saying he was like, "Can you help me give me a plastic bag?" Because he was sleeping in the park, and the sprinklers had come on, and he got wet, so he had to like get up, and he walks really slow. So I imagine that by the time he realized he was getting wet, the time he was able to get himself up and walk, grab his stuff, because he has very difficult skills. And when I think about that, I'm like, I've been thinking about him all day. I'm like, I wanted to help him, but I had to run into a meeting, so I gave him a plastic bag and I gave him a sweater just to give him some dry clothes. Um, but you know, I wish I could like see what happens in the world. No, I don't wish. I don't wish. I don't say it that way. Um, I see a lot of really sometimes painful and ugly things that happen in the world, and sometimes I wish that like I didn't feel all of it. Like I wish there was a way. It's hard to say that because I'm not sad that I feel it, but I feel heavy. I feel big. I'm a big feeler. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an emotional being. And I have given myself permission to feel. And from a long part of my life where I didn't give myself permission to feel, I'll just shut it off. Be like, man, whatever. That ain't my business. That ain't my thing. That ain't me. That ain't my family. That ain't. I learned how to shut it off, right? Because I learned that that's what you need to be respected as a strong, tough man. And right, that's what I learned. I don't believe it anymore, but it's what I believed for a long time. And so would shut it down. And so now that I have learned to feel, I've learned, I've relearned how to feel, right? Because I think all of us are born knowing how to feel, but by nurturing, I think we get trained like, don't show that, don't show that. Oh, you can show that one. Funny, okay. Angry, okay, yeah. Oh, but sad, worried, fear, doubt, shame, like no, you don't get to show those. And I think as I've become learning more, uh, I I gotta just have a balance between not letting it overcome me, but just noticing it. Yeah, man, I felt for that man this morning. I did the best I could with what I had. I gave him some socks, some warm socks. I gave him a jacket. That's all I could do. He was asking me, can I fold his blankets up? And I was like feeling nervous and scared, kind of like, I don't know if I want to fold your blankets up. I'm like, I was feeling nervous about that, right? Like, we're in a pandemic right now. I'm also very empathetic and I want to help. And I'm like, oh, it was one of those moments where I'm like, you know what? I said, listen, I got to go to my meeting. If you're here when I come out of my meeting, I'll help you. But I was like, I need to find some gloves. I was just feeling like that balance between wanting to be fully helping and also wanting to be fully present and alive to what I was feeling too, being really honest to my own feelings that there was some fear there, like I mean, it's some stranger technically, right? I've never seen him before in my life, and all of a sudden, and I wasn't afraid for my life in terms of like him hurting me, but I was afraid that what if just all the things. So anyway, those are the things that came up today, and I guess you know when I left after my meeting was over, I went outside to see if he was there, and he wasn't there anymore. So I'm hoping that he was able to get some help, and uh, you know that's what's really true for me. That's the back of my mask.
Being emotional. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I'm emotional as well. And as you said, there are so many painful things that happen, so
yeah,
it's kind of difficult as well. Perhaps those kind of situations are going to make you feel really sad. And it's even worse when there is not a way to help. Yeah, although there is always a way to help, but perhaps you don't have like resources or
yeah,
yeah, or the situation is kind of worse.
yeah.
That happens. And I
I wonder if
remember
it's
myself, like,
yeah.
sorry, like
No.
walking sometimes by the streets and looking people who lie over the floor, like asking for money. And I actually used to give them, like, yeah. So it's it was real sad. And above all, like, over here, people from Venezuela actually are coming, right? So it's kind of difficult because they don't have even where to sleep. They have like
Mm,
children. Well, it's, it's difficult to help.
wow. Wow. I think the in the idea of being difficult to help, I think is the question. Sometimes I ask the question is, I want to help everyone, right? And I know that I can't, and so I have to like sometimes decide who I'm gonna help, how much can I help right now. I mean, okay, I can only what I was able to do is I came in my office, I grabbed some socks, I grabbed a sweater that was in here, I gave it to him. He asked me for some more, more help, and I'm like, yeah, I can't right now. I got a meeting to go to, but I will come back. And I think it's like just being really honest with myself that you know I would have loved to spend more time and learn more about his story and ask more questions, but I didn't have the capacity in the moment, right? So I think just like even when we want to help, like can we help while keeping in honor of our own integrity, right? And making good decisions for our own well-being too, right? Because what if you help everyone and then you're like now you've given everything away and now you're like, wait, where do I go now,
We are not able to help ourselves.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's so important. I think that's so important. I guess this is how the podcast goes. It's just two men having a conversation about the mask. Do you have people in your life? Maybe because I only know a couple of people from Peru, but I would ask you: did you have a place growing up to talk about things like the mask? Even if you didn't talk about the word mask, but did you have people in your life that you could talk about things behind the image that you have to show? Did you have people like that?
Yeah, some friends, I would say, like I study in a kind of internship, so there were people really close to me. And well, some of them used to know like these kind of things about anxiety, procrastination, and failure. Yeah, and also my family as well. My family now, like not all my family, like my father, my mother. Yeah,
Nice. You you get you able to talk about these things with your father in your life?
with my father, like sometimes, right? Not every single time, but in general terms, right? Because sometimes I believe that my father or my mother are not gonna be able to understand like the things that I want to achieve, because it's kind of difficult for them. Above all, because I like, for example, I would like to study in the United States of America, right? I would like to
Yeah.
study abroad, but they
Yeah.
don't know much about the process. They don't know about what that implies. They
Yeah.
I have my dreams, but they may know like in general terms what it is about, but they don't know the details and all what I need. And well, it's kind of difficult, and they wouldn't be able also to feel what I feel like being worried or those things. It's more about the situation. Yeah, they are not able to.
Yeah. What about just outside of the technical stuff of like making and studying abroad? Do you able to have? Is it common that young people? Are you the only child?
No, I
No.
have brothers. I have my sister
Are
who
you the
is older
youngest?
than me. No, 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 no. My brother is the youngest.
Oh, okay.
Just a child.
Just a child. Okay. How old is he?
5.
5. Okay. Yes, a child. Yes, child.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you were talking if I'm able to talk about, well, apart from the technical stuff. Well,
Yeah.
basically, not every single time.
Mm.
I don't know what they are going to say if I say like I don't know what I have to do. I feel that even my friends would be more able to understand what I feel because they are from my age. And as they are from my age, they may have like a better kind of perspective. Like my father and my mother, they are older. They have like different kind of points of view, so it's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I imagine, or I would ask, were there any other young people your age from LALA? I mean, from Peru in LALA this past year when you were there?
Yeah, there were more people from Peru.
More people from Peru. Did you all have like have were able to have like deep conversations?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Basically, there is one of those days, like the final day, in which every single person starts to talk about their lives and what one of the best best sessions that LAL has.
Mm.
It's called
And
the final share.
the final share, and the final share is to share about your life.
Not exactly about their
Oh.
lives, but about a situation. It could
Mm.
be an academical situation. It could be about a problem they want to solve, or just about
Mm.
themselves. So it's
Yeah.
like there is room to share all their emotions. And actually, when they share those kind of stories, there are gonna be more people who actually feel the same, and they connect those
Mm.
stories, they connect all those points, and well, that it's that when the connection starts.
Oh man. I mean, this is really beautiful, and I think it's really powerful that to be able to have these kind of conversations. I guess maybe as we get ready to close, I would ask, do you feel that in like what you have experienced not only through LALA but through the other leadership programs that people want to have deeper connection with each other, or do you feel just based on where you are, based on the people you meet in Peru, or are people like okay with the way it is? They don't really want to like is it something that people will be open to if they learn about it, or is it people are like no, like you're willing, so maybe you're one, but and maybe the other Peru participants, but like as a whole, like if you were to go back to your old high school or your old middle school and talk to them about these topics, would they be open to it, or do you think they'll be pretty closed off to it?
I would say they would. As I have already told you, we're studying in a kind of well, boarding school. So it's even more normal to know about what's happening in our lives between every
Mhm.
single person. So,
Yeah.
but as you said, it's about willingness. If you're willing to share like what's happening in your life, everything is going to be fine. But if I have to remember about myself a couple of years ago,
Mm.
I wouldn't do that because I didn't feel prepared at the time.
Well, listen, I am, we just lost connection, but everything happens for a reason, right? And I think that where we ended on that conversation, you were saying something, and then it cut you off right in the middle, and I was like, no, that's he's not. He stopped. He's not there. He's not there. I thought you were thinking of what to say. Do you remember the last thing you were saying before you got cut off?
Actually, no.
No.
But the point was that now I feel more prepared to show myself. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, and I'm glad that you've been a part of this podcast with us. And here's what I'm hoping. I hope that as you continue to be on your journey towards finishing up this gap year, is this the second gap year, or this
yeah,
is
my second gap
your second
year.
one? Okay. Well, that you will continue searching for the thing that is gonna like be the thing you do as a social entrepreneur. I'm excited, and please keep reaching out to us and to me, and if I can support you in any way, I'll do my best. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Shanti. It has been a pleasure to be with you over here, and thanks for all.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being our first guest from Lala, being our first guest from Peru, being our first. I just appreciate you for just being willing, and I hope that we stay connected. I hope to make sure we connect again. Okay.
Absolutely, and sorry for my English, by the way.
Your English is actually very good, and I hope that if no one tells you that, I'm telling you that, and I hope my Spanish is good as your English. So, uh, and I'm sure it's not because I speak like I'm on the streets in Mexico City. That's where I learned my Spanish outdoors. So, listen, we're gonna keep practicing, and if you ever want to practice, we can practice that too. All right.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
Okay. Gustavo Heredia, Gustavo Luis Heredia
Vasquez.
Vasquez. Okay. Luis Gustavo Heredia Vasquez.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
All right. It's been a pleasure having you on the Taking Off the Mask podcast. Thank you so much. I'm wishing you all the best with what's the name of the program you're with? Emerge Peru?
Enseña Perú.
Enseña Perú and Teach Peru. Enseña Peru. And if anything we can do and ever forward here to support We look forward to that, okay?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Un placer.
Un placer. Taking Off the Mask podcast is produced by Ryan Louie. Editing, videography is also by Ryan Louie. Graphics by Kelly Wong. And a special thanks to the team at Ever Forward, Vanessa Cortez and Kevin Romero. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been a part of the creation of this podcast. As we hit this 1-year anniversary, we hope that everyone who's been a part knows that they're a part of the Taking Off the Mask experience. And we look forward to you being a part of it as well. If you liked what you heard today, please like, subscribe, and share. And we look forward to us continuing to offer conversations that matter. Take care. See you soon.